Hello, I'm Oriana Bretschker, the CEO and founder at Aquacycl, and welcome to Wastewater Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about industrial pretreatment and what that means to downstream treatment facilities. What can pretreatment do for you, and what is the impact to, say, a municipal infrastructure? Pretreatment is usually a good idea if you're an industrial discharger that is generating a highly concentrated waste that may divert into the collection system and potentially cause some issues for that treatment plant that's downstream from you. If you're discharging high concentrations of organics, high concentrations of nutrients like nitrogen or phosphorus, or even high concentrations of total dissolved solids, lots of salt, that can have a pretty significant impact depending on your flows, right, to what's happening at the treatment plant. And the reason for that is all of these large centralized facilities are utilizing biological approaches for treatment. And the biology in most of these systems are very susceptible to wide changes in both pH and temperature and concentrations and flows. And it's really important to keep a very natural and even balance within these microbial communities. If you send a shock into the system, they could crash, and it could take 3 to 5 weeks to get that system back online. That means no wastewater treatment for the entire community over that period of time, or minimal. So we want to avoid that. And what we do is an industrial pretreatment at the site where the wastewater is generated. So specifically in industries, as an example for food and beverage manufacturing. If we're catching those high concentrates before they get into the city collection system, we could remove as much of the organic and nitrogen and phosphorus and other compounds as much as possible before sending it to the sewer. Not only does it help the client in managing their sewer surcharges, overall reduction of cost, but it also helps the city because now they've got a much more predictable flow of concentration coming to them, and they're not going to see these big swings, which could offset their system performance. The other thing that's very useful for utilities is by removing a lot of this organic pollutant, we actually are not only keeping that downstream facility operating smoothly, but we're saving them money, because if we take out that organic pollution, that means the energy that would be required to otherwise remove it reduces significantly. All right, so I'll provide an example. So at one of our industrial food and beverage manufacturing facilities where we're providing industrial pretreatment to their wastewater, our 40-foot container is removing anywhere from 1,600 to 3,000 pounds of biological oxygen demand per day. To remove that amount or that load only requires our container about 60 kilowatt hours per day. Now, if that same load were to flow to the utility to treat through an aeration process, it would require 2,500 kilowatt hours in that day. So in addition to saving the utility significant amount of energy, which totals to be about 200 to 350,000 kilowatt hours per year, we also help that utility reduce the amount of sludge that they have to manage. So if all of that biological oxygen demand flowed to an aeration process, that means the utility is going to have to blow more air into that aeration tank to generate more biomass, which will ultimately consume all of that organic. But that extra biomass which is generated then has to be dewatered and hauled off somewhere to be disposed of. Now, if we take that organic out of the process, that's extra sludge that doesn't have to be managed. So that means less trucks on the road, less energy for dewatering, and less methane that's emitted when that sludge breaks down after a land application. So overall, doing industrial pretreatment can help the client save money in surcharges, address Scope 3 emissions, benefit the utility operationally, as well as monetarily, and we get more trucks of sludge off the road. So there's really no reason not to do it. Go to aquacycl.com and find out more.